What makes for a high-value workers' compensation settlement? Good afternoon, folks. My name is Jim Aspel. I'm a board-certified workers' compensation attorney here in Farmington, Connecticut. And we get asked that question a lot. What makes for a high-valued workers' compensation settlement? Why is one case worth more than another? In my opinion, there are several factors that go into determining how much your workers' compensation settlement is going to be. The first and probably most important factor is how much you were earning at the time that you got hurt. If you were making $10 or $12 an hour or working perhaps 20 or 15 hours a week, then your workers' compensation settlement is going to be lower. This is so because any of the benefits that we use are calculated using what's called your compensation rate. Your compensation rate is calculated using the numbers that you were earning at the time you got hurt. Again, if you were making $10 or $12 an hour, your compensation rate is going to be lower than somebody who was earning $1,600, $1,700, $1,800 a week, working 40, 50, 60 hours a week. Those people are going to have a higher compensation rate, and their settlement is going to be worth more, in some cases considerably more than somebody that's a minimum wage worker with a smaller compensation rate. So that's probably number one. Number two is the effect that the injury has had on your ability to do work. If you've had a significant injury that has affected your ability to do work, and that ability to do work is going to be impacted for a long period of time, perhaps for the rest of your life, perhaps for a number of years. In that instance, if your case is going to settle, then your case is going to have significantly more value than somebody who was laid up for a day or two or didn't miss a tremendous amount of lost time. This is so because workers' compensation is a statutory benefit, and the workers' compensation carrier is obligated to pay you for that period of time when you are unable to work. It stands to reason that if you're out of work for 4 or 5 years, you're going to be paid considerably more money by the workers' compensation carrier than if you missed a half day or didn't miss any time at all. The last and probably, the body part that you injured does play a part in the value of your workers' compensation settlement. Some body parts by their very nature are worth more than others. In Connecticut, the brain, the back, the knee, and perhaps the master arm are the highest value body parts. There are others, however, those are the big four. If you sustain an injury to one of those body parts, your brain or your back in particular, then the value of your settlement is going to be significantly more than if you sustain an injury to a little finger on your non-master hand. It's just the way the statute is, and unfortunately there's not a heck of a lot that you can do about that. You don't want to have a brain injury, obviously, but if you do, your case is going to be worth more than somebody that cracked their pinky. Finally, I would say that the factor that goes into the value of your workers' compensation settlement has to do with what your future medical care is going to look like. So, for example, if you have a life-altering injury and you're going to need attendant care, or you're going to need future surgery or long-term hospitalizations or something like that, then obviously the value of your settlement is going to be tremendously higher than somebody that's going to have no medical treatment going down the road. That stands to reason. The other factor would be whether or not there's been an indication that you may have surgery down the road. Whether or not you have the surgery or not may or may not play into the value of the settlement, but the fact that a doctor is making recommendations for surgery does give us an argument we can make that the value of that surgery can and should be included in the value of your workers' compensation settlement. Sometimes if you've already had surgery, there's still the potential that you may need further surgery down the road, and that's something that your compensation attorney and obviously the workers' comp insurance company is going to be aware of. We know from experience, for example, that if you have a spinal fusion at the level of L3 and L4, it's very likely that as life goes on, you're going to need additional surgery at an adjacent level. That's simply true because the fusion at L3-4 puts additional stress on the level, typically the level above, and that's going to result in a future back surgery down the road. The back surgeries are expensive. The back surgery is going to entail a long period of recovery, so there's going to be a period of time where you need to get paid because you're unable to work, and that second back surgery is going to result in an increase in permanent partial disability to your back, so the insurance company is going to be on the hook to pay that for you as well. So those are the various factors, I would say, that go into making one case worth more than another. Again, the compensation rate is probably the biggest thing, and then the potential for future medical care would be number two. There are some other factors that go into it, but those are a lot more obscure and those are a lot less common. But typically, if you're a high earning employee with a significant injury to a valuable body part, your case is going to be worth considerably more than something more minor. Hopefully that helps. If you have any questions, feel free to give us a call. We're in Farmington, 860-523-8783. You can call us anytime. You can visit our website at www.aspbellaw.com. There's a lot of information there about various workers' compensation topics. We have a Facebook group, Ask a Connecticut Workers' Compensation Attorney. I would invite you to join that. And if you found this video even slightly helpful, please give me a thumbs up. If you'd like to learn more about Connecticut workers' compensation topics, I invite you to explore the channel, and I would also invite you to subscribe. That way you're notified anytime we drop some additional topics, which we tend to do on a weekly basis. Again, stay safe, have a great afternoon, and thanks for your attention.